So, didn't he have the RWDS patch on his vest? Yes. He had the right wing death squad patch on his vest. That was one of the immediate details that came out of the shooting, and people were like, "Well, he's Hispanic. How could he be fucking a white supremacist?" And there's a major thread about all of his ties to the white supremacist movement. He was a big Tim Pool fan. He watched a bunch of videos on his YouTube that is like still public at this point, like still public profile at this point. He was very clearly a white supremacist. I wonder if he has yeah, like Michael Treacy made like that idiotic fucking take where he's like, "What? A white supremacist? A Latino guy with a white supremacist name?" Like, it's like, bro, have you been to Texas? Have you left your fucking house? Just go to Texas. 52% of the Customs and Border Patrol officers are fucking Hispanic, dog. What the fuck do you mean? Like, oh, I'm shocked. What's next? A white supremacist Hispanic person? What? A white supremacist Latino person? What? What? Bro, it's Texas. The fuck do you mean? And this one was like, this dude was like way in the fucking Kool-Aid, okay? Way into the Kool-Aid. Anyway, just let's continue with the details, and then I'll get to all the discourse surrounding
how it all unfolded and what is the latest on the investigation.
Yeah, Joe, good morning. And as you heard there, people are still in shock and disbelief, those who were here and witnessed or experienced all of this unfolding. And all of the witnesses say that this came out of nowhere. They were enjoying a Saturday afternoon shopping when all of a sudden, as you saw in that dash cam video, someone pulls up to the mall, gets out of the car, and just starts firing. And to give you a bit of context, this is an outdoor outlet mall. We're talking about more than 100 stores, so there may have been certainly hundreds, if not thousands, of people that were milling about this mall as this shooter went on this rampage here. We know that there was an officer who was already on scene for a different call that immediately ran towards that gunfire and was able to ultimately shoot and kill that suspect. But it's unclear at this point how much time had passed, how much time where there was shooting going on. But obviously we know that in that time there were 8 people who were murdered and 7 more who were injured. And as for the latest in the investigation, police have not held a briefing in more than 24 hours. They are revealing very little information in terms of the investigation and how all of this unfolded. Instead, right now, they are asking anyone with videos or who may have been witnesses to this to continue to come forward as they try to piece together a TikTok of how all of this played out here on Saturday. Joe?
So, Priscilla, even though investigators are at least publicly a little bit tight-lipped, we are learning more about the shooter. What can you tell us about what we've learned about Mauricio Garcia?
Yeah, so they have identified him as a 33-year-old male, and senior law enforcement officials tell us that they are looking at investigating this crime as something that could have been racially or ethnically motivated. We know that senior law enforcement officials say they have seen hundreds of social media posts from this suspect that is espousing neo-Nazi rhetoric and also...
Yeah, they're like, what? What? But his name sounds Mexican. What? Bro. You know, one of the most famous white nationalists in the country has the last name Fuentes. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? What are you, fucking stupid? Are you oblivious to this reality? Here, I'll do you one further. I mean, Candace Owens. She's black. She's a white supremacist. What are you talking about? There's Attila Hildmann in Germany is like the leader of the QAnon white supremacist movement there. He's fucking Turkish. White supremacist just means you think white people are superior and you are advocating for their best interests and you want to ethnically cleanse everyone who's not. Okay? Like all marginalized groups. It doesn't matter if you are personally not white. Okay? Very stupid. It's not even a gotcha at this point. And this dude made no mistake. Like, he basically told you what he is. He showed it to you.
White supremacist rhetoric. Officials say that he interacted with that type of content online, and they did search his family home overnight on Saturday. We went out there and spoke to some neighbors to see what they knew of this suspect, if there were any red flags. I want to play a little bit of some of those conversations.
From what I've seen of the guy, I mean, I didn't see any red flags that described what he had, apparently been said that he had done.
He went to high school with some of the neighbors, and they just said he was just always very quiet.
And the sense I got from speaking to those neighbors is that people would say hello in passing, but didn't really seem to know him. And I should point out that police, while they are investigating the white...
No red flags. He had Nazi tattoos. Bro, what do you think? He just, like, goes to the fucking public pool with his tattoos, showing it to his fucking neighbors and shit? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like a lot of these dudes, okay? A lot of these fucking dudes are very quiet. They don't go outside. They're very shy. How do you think he became a Nazi? He literally was so extremely fucking online that his brain got broken from being online over and over and over and over and over again. And like, he was terminally fucking online until he dove fully in and became a part of this movement. That's it. That's why people will be like, what? I didn't know he was like that. Yeah, of course you didn't know what he was like, because you don't know what he was like online, okay? Because none of these motherfuckers put their actual faces online until they become like a prominent leadership, until they have a prominent leadership role in the movement, and they're like the public-facing side and the media-trained side. A lot of them just have like anime lolly avatars, Roman statue avatars, you know what I mean? Like, we have all of it. We have all of the details if you want to know, because immediately people tried to do, before we jump to that though, people tried to immediately jump to the, this guy's not a Nazi. I mean, come on. Yeah. How could he be a Nazi? He is a Hispanic name. Like, they did that shit, right? One of the funnier ones was Michael Treacy. Hold on. One second. Where the fuck is it? Where's Michael Tracy's, like... Where is it? I don't... Oh. What is this? If a mass shooter is a white supremacist, a Mexican cartel member, a trans activist, a schizophrenic, a huge fan of Biden, a huge fan of Trump, or anything in between, this ought to be demonstrated with evidence, not uncorroborated projections based on vague anonymous leaks. Oh, yeah, he was doing the whole, like, I'm skeptical of this, by the way. But where is the other one? Oh. Oh, he still did it. He did the, if having white supremacist beliefs no longer means believing the innate superiority of whites to other inferior races, then maybe pick a different term for the beliefs you're describing rather than always going to provoke the most angry emotional reaction. Sometimes it's fair to say someone has white supremacist beliefs. For instance, El Paso mass shooter in 2019 and Buffalo mass shooter in 2020 to explicitly express such beliefs. That doesn't mean it's an inherently elastic term that's just synonymous with bad. What? Bro, he's like, officials probe Texas mall shooter's possible link to honey bunches of oats. That would be a better headline, because it would have just as much had legitimate news value. Plus, the added benefit of not whipping up hysteria with anonymous conjecture from media whispering officials. Dude, I don't think this guy fucking recognizes that, like, if you had a little bit of media literacy, or at the very least, if you had like 3.5 fucking brain cells, you would recognize that police aren't often quick to jump and be like, this is a hate crime. If anything, motherfuckers would be like, I'm doing a hate crime. And cops would be like, hold on now. Let's figure out what this guy had to say. Was he a good guy? You know what I mean? Was he like a wonderful, kind individual with a bad day, having a bad day? Let's figure that out first. When a cop says, in official notes that there are possible ties to white supremacy before the news media's coverage on the matter comes in. Okay? You bet your fucking ass there's a lot of indications that he's a fucking Nazi. Okay? So for him to just like go and jump to this conclusion and get fucking so publicly obliterated, I guess it's possible that someone named Mauricio Garcia may have had white supremacist beliefs, but perhaps further analysis is warranted. Randy says, I doubt it in this case, but have you heard of a person named Nick Fuentes? Michael Tracy said no. Carl Bayer responds and says, here's a reminder. This is Nick Fuentes responding to Michael Tracy. You keep saying that and getting ratioed because it's obviously stupid and wrong. Michael, sometimes you are a useful tool for advancing our reactionary agenda, but nobody should take you seriously beyond that. Thank you, token liberal, for moving the Overton window in our direction. This is my favorite. Check the replies. Dear fucking R word. Why would a Mexican be a white supremacist? You fake news shill. Maybe you should focus on getting your ratings up before you call a pregnant woman a fuckhead on Twitter, bitch. Yeah. How could that happen? I mean, there's so much more. Like every right-wing person, they went off on this shit. Based on the shooter's post, his primary interest seems to be heavy metal type music, sprinkled in with assorted Nazi stuff, including a Hitler cartoon icon he appears especially proud of. No manifesto style articulations of belief, but still very screwed up and depressing. No, this is him like leaning into like the, okay, maybe he was a Nazi type shit, okay? He's like leaning into it now. This is him basically admitting it, okay? That's it. But like also giving himself an out a little bit where he's like, well, there's no manifesto. Oh, dude, who knows? Who knows how much of a Nazi this guy is? Oh, wait, we do know how much of a Nazi this guy is. Guess what, dude? Here's some indication. This was immediately noticeable, right? The right-wing death squad patch on his fucking gear. But hey, guess what, dude? He had also these tattoos, it seems, which feels like, and he titled it, here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers. I feel like it's, I mean, guys, I don't want to rush to any fucking conclusions here, okay? I don't want to rush to any conclusions here, but it feels to me like this guy might be a Nazi. I mean, oh, you guys call everybody a Nazi. Oh, what do we mean? We might never know. We might never know. We might never know. Eric, I believe these are his tattoos. He had the Texas tat on the shoulder. He had the Deus Vult tat on his arms. I mean, dude, cops recognize their own, okay? Let's be real. They probably saw the Deus Vult tat and were like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking white supremacist." And then one of them was like, "Hank, I got those tattoos too. What the fuck do you mean? Shut the fuck up." What's 10-8? I don't know what the 10-8 is. Deus Vult, though, is LARPing shit. Holy war. Yeah. Big surprise he was a Libs of TikTok fan. Big surprise he was a Tim Pool fan. The Allen Texas shooter opens the post by saying it was inspired by Libs of TikTok, talks about drag queens and liberal media, and closes with Heil Hitler. So yeah, there is a lot going on here because a lot of Nazis love being extremely online. So once you fucking figure out what their account looks like online, all of a sudden you've opened up Pandora's box to all of the nitty gritty, all of the details, all of the things that they genuinely believe. I am unfamiliar with the 10.8 one. I've never seen that one, but obviously he's got the SS Thunder, the classic, the classic SS Thunderbolts, right here. You know, the double lightning, and I don't know if you know this. Oh, it says 6, not 8. 10.6. 10.6 is the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. I don't know what 10.6 is. But yeah, I mean, that's a swastika. That's a swazi. You know? You see that? That's a swasti. Okay? You see that, and you know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. It's like, everybody knows what the fuck's going on there, okay? Anyway, what's up? Huh? I don't know. Bro, maybe he was in the middle of making a maze tattoo. Yeah, his avatar also had the Hitler mustache as well. So, everything you need to know. Here is Eric Toller, who is pretty reliable on this sort of stuff. He found as much detailed information about this person's background as possible. Took a while, but I found the Odnoklassniki profile of the Allen, Texas shooter described in this New York Times article. Investigators are trying to learn why a gunman fatally shot at least 8 people at a Texas mall, are examining his social media profile, rife with hate-filled rants against women and black people that they believe belong to the gunman. The profile fan on social media site OKRU matches the gunman's birthday and refers to a motel where he was staying before the shooting. Profile also includes language praising Hitler with references to neo-Nazi websites like the Daily Stormer. On Sunday, officials identified the gunman who was killed at the mall by a police officer as Mauricio Garcia, 33. The motive of the attack remains unclear. We have his YouTube account, which I'm surprised YouTube hasn't taken down yet, but this is his YouTube account. This was updated 7 days ago, day of the last laugh. We saw what his likes look like. I mean,
hello, my geeks and peeps.
Let Me Explain Studios, bitten while defending a friend. I don't know what the fuck that is. Red Dawn Wolverines, Red Dawn, Top Gun, Swingers, the gun scene. There were some other likes that people found, but where was it? Day of the Last Laugh. This is his playlist. I guess this was like supposed to be his. I assume this was his like. These are his favorited videos. Some football, Puss in Boots. There was some Tim Pool videos in here. Oh, Just Pearly thinks his deleted interview with Nick Fuentes. Streamer made fun of a girl with cancer. Our country's in an incredibly dark place. And then some basic stuff too. But like as far as political shit, there's a litany of, you scrolled past the Hitler vids? I did. I didn't even see it. Where? The craziest abortion protesters in Washington, D.C. Bullhorning violent BLM protesters. Attack BLM protests for holding Police Lives Matter. Okay. Modern women angry that men avoiding them at work. Trump was right, again, by Mark Dice. Nick Fuentes, no one ever fought war for a woman. The real enemy of the environment is China. Adam Lanza, Sandy Hook killer phone call. You watch new Patrick Cece Twitch expose? What? Oh, okay. We'll look at that later. Women angry that men avoid them at work. There's some other stuff in there. Hold on. We looked at some of this, but yeah, there was a Abba in Preach video. I mean, here are some fan favorites. The white liberals know better. Listen to them. Gideon Abba in Preach video he liked. He watched a lot of Abba and Preach, which is interesting. But like I said, I mean, he watched a lot of. I'm not saying that this has anything to do with their politics or his politics in general, but you know, because he fucking watched random YouTubers as well. But these guys are extremely fucking online. I mean, here, this is like Matt Walsh videos. His profile. Matt Walsh destroys the quartering and quartering responds. Gas station shootout videos, Mark Dice videos, 1953 special report Mexican wetbacks, which is you know, I don't know what this dude's background is, but like, what the fuck does he care about the Bracero program? I don't think he's supposed to be a fan of that. Or like maybe he's on board with that, but like not immigration now. I don't know exactly what his background is. So yeah, these are some of his like favorited videos for the record. These are some of his favorited videos that we're going through. I mean, pretty regular fucking profile. Who's to say where his radicalization happened? Who's to say where his radicalization happened? But it certainly does feel like he kept on being radicalized online. You know what I mean? Maybe don't say that word. Oh my God. My radicalization is happening in my own community. Okay? In my own community, as I'm talking about a white supremacist mass shooter, and this is what you want to fucking hyper focus on. The reason why you want to do that is because you want to not even like clean up the language or anything like that. You want to have everybody fucking focus on you, okay? That's it. Don't fucking bra moment me right now, okay? Steven Crowder coming out with the ironic. Oh, Steven Crowder's saying this. Interesting.
We have not been able to find them yet. We have been able to find official statements from the police chief saying we do not have a motive. That doesn't stop CNN from saying right-wing death squad, which, by the way, someone could also put that on there to troll, like we saw what happened, remember, with Christchurch. Yeah. This happened where he said, I was inspired by Candace Owens and by Ben Shapiro to shoot up, I believe, was it a church? Or was it a synagogue? I believe in Christchurch. I think it was a synagogue, yeah. Synagogue, it's tough to keep track. So this is important because the truth does matter here. We have not been...
What? What? He was just trolling? What do you mean? Bro, he said, was Christchurch, the shooting in Christchurch, was that a fucking synagogue or a church? It was neither, dog.
I believe, was it a church or was it a synagogue? I believe in Christchurch.
It wasn't a church. And it wasn't a synagogue, you fucking idiot. It was a mosque. It was a mosque. It's like so far beyond his like realm of comprehension. That's insane, man. Anyway, it's just like, he's purposely leaving out that it was a mosque. No, he's just fucking stupid. He's stupid and he's fucking racist, okay? And he's not even thinking about, like, he doesn't even comprehend that, like, white supremacists kill Muslims regularly, partially because he likes that shit, okay? I don't think that was a deliberate omission or a lie. I think that was just, like, straight up because he's just too fucking stupid. That's what I think, okay? Hold on a moment. Okay. Let's get back to Eric's thread, though. So he looked up the profile. He found his YouTube account. The most recent post on his OK profile basically was his manifesto/suicide note. And he closes it with a quote from South Park. Extremely fucking mid content consumption from all of these fucking demons, dude. Like, it's always like, oh, I love South Park and Matt Walsh, and like, I hate liberal media. Libtards are so fucking stupid. I'm gonna be a Nazi now. You're like a weak-brained, pathetic coward. The whole, like, oh man, feminists were really shitty to me, so now I associate women with, like, all of my fucking problems, and oops, before you know it, my favorite PUA podcasts are collaborating with Nazis. Before you know it, oops, I became a Nazi myself. Yes, Dusty Shackelford is a King of the Hill reference. Anyway, flashback to I Write OK's 2019 Bellingcat article on how mass shootings have been gamified, with the Allen shooter talking about a decent kill score in Nashville. This was his suicide note, basically. This was his fucking manifesto. Slayer, mod, deranged former Yakuza member and drink and Chinksel? What the fuck? I don't even know what this is in reference to. RIP to all my victims and my condolences. Foyd Soy. Real men don't murder innocent victims. Chad. I mean, he's like literally fucking memeing. Bro, he's memeing while he's fucking writing this. Like, he's putting emotes while he's fucking writing this shit. Now, the reason why I'm reading this, especially in this fucking community, okay, is because the reason why I'm reading this because in this community is because these are people who are extremely online on the other side, okay? Some of them are in here right now. Some of them are fucking in here in this very moment. Some of them are in here and changing their behavior, learning, and hopefully not becoming and not going further down in this pipeline. But let's be fucking real. This is a terminally online dude who went in the opposite direction. Okay? This is a terminally online person who straight up became a deranged, hate-filled psychopath who thought that he had a sense of community in the far right. Okay? Just because the shooter is trans doesn't mean trans lives don't matter. Soy. No. Fuck all this noise. It's also empty, fake, and boring. Every school shooting to me is the perfect time to be a completely horrible person and see this event like a sport or a comedy. The most important thing about a school shooting is to know the race of a person who did it, the kill count, and then compare their accomplishments of murder to all those who came before. And also, learn intricately the life of the killer so memes can be made. Because let's face it, killing people in an interesting way is an art that earns a lot of respect just inherently. The tenuousness of life forces it to be this way, and to play into the moral banality of it as normies do is kind of gay to me. It's funny how pomp and circumstance, the murder reaction has become this forced solemn church moment we all are forced to affect around in public in order to feel normal, when the reality is I just know a lot of people are just like me and want to revel in the schadenfreude. The media fucking proves it. They will never miss an opportunity to cover the event and cater the coverage exactly to sick fucks like me, because the heart of the matter is we all know it's just a fucking spectacle at this point, and the spectacle is always the killer, far more interesting than the boring fucks who were killed. There's always humor in darkness. He's way too fucking self-aware. He's like incredibly online, incredibly fucking self-aware, incredibly aware of this shit. 0 comments, 0 shares, 0 likes. Yeah, these guys write this shit so that people see it after the fact. Like, is this related to insulism too in a way? I don't know where. Look, the only reason why I'm showing this and the only reason why I'm covering this is because there are a lot of people that are permanently online that you engage with all the fucking time, whether you're in my replies, whether you're in this community and they're sending you fucking psychotic whispers about how they're going to come kill you because you're like a gay soy lord fan of mine, for example. These are the motherfuckers who are around us all the time on the internet. Okay? And it's important to understand their fucking their red pill journey, I guess. It's important to understand where they start, how they get to the place that they get to, and how to stop it. Because ultimately, the most important thing is to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. This is yet another remnant of a fundamentally broken society with no job prospects, with no fucking future, people feeling isolated, people feeling alienated, people losing their fucking minds, and finding a sense of community and a sense of purpose in some of the most nefarious, awful circles online, filled to the brim with people that take advantage of you, that because you're lonely, because you're lost, people that offer you because you're like a rudderless ship, people that offer you a sense of purpose, and then and constantly reveling in this negativity. And it ultimately turns into this. You become this guy when you lean into it so heavily and you act out on those violent desires. But when there is enough people in your tight, like vacuum sealed echo chamber in your hug box that you have cultivated for yourself and others like you with like-minded individuals, all of a sudden, this kind of like right-wing freakazoid shit is seemingly normal. That's why there are so many people who desperately are like, oh, we're going to make a lolcow out of Hasan. You know what I mean? We're just going to, dude, he's so cringe. He's so cringe. But then when you do that in the real world and you show that kind of behavior to like real human beings, like normies, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're being gross. Like, get away from me. The same principle stands for transphobia. Transphobia online, okay, has gotten to a point where like people are insanely cringe. They're violent, they're cringe, they're crazy, they've like lost their minds. To the average person, a guy like Matt Walsh, who's like sweaty and talking about fucking teenagers' genitals and shit nonstop, is unimaginably weird. Okay, you are unimaginably weird when you do that, but they don't recognize that because they're basically in this like airtight circuit where people are constantly validating their most insane, violent, inherently violent ideals. And you basically think that this is normal when it's certainly not. Okay? This is why, unironically, touching grass is a good thing. Okay? So the Nashville shooting was particularly interesting to me because a bitch broke the ER barrier with a decent kill score for the first time. This is like the greatest accomplishment of feminism ever for a Foid. I don't even know what that is, even though a T word. I didn't even realize there was a slur in there, by the way, so I apologize earlier. I mean, there's like a bunch of shit in here that I read, so don't fucking freak out on me. I'm like, going through this in real time. Foid means femoid. Even though a T word, but still a vagina haver, to feel so empowered that they could take it upon themselves to pick themselves by the bootstraps, get their gear in order, and successfully go ER is a moment Valerie Solanas would be proud of. Only feminism could have taken biological women to the logical extreme of embodying the highest pinnacles of toxic masculinity. ER is Elliot Rodgers. Also known as the supreme gentleman in these circles, a person that they like literally, Elliot Rodgers, who did the major school shooting back in the fucking day. How do you know that? It is my job to know that. What do you mean? There's a reason why I'm a decent person at like describing the manic screeds of a extremely online brain broken psychopath, because I know where they're coming from. I know what they are talking about. It wasn't a school shooter. Yes, it was. It was a college. He was the OG incel, technically school shooter. He shot up a college, UCSB. Hide. Yeah. He had a BMW. I remember that. Yeah, he did. So, this was his post from April 21st, the right-wing death squad patch next to the Punisher logo, of course. Punisher decal, a classic. He was trying to be the Zodiac killer, I guess. See if you losers can solve this. I give you a hint, but even the smallest hint would give me away. Well, I'm off to watch my favorite show on Sci-Fi. This message was supposed to just be cherry tops. I'm posting it here in case they don't re-release it. Like, they're such self-important fucking losers, too. That's the funniest part about it, is that, like, they literally think that they're so slick and so smart. This is, I mean, I can smell this post. You know what I mean? I can quite literally fucking smell this post from a mile away. Okay? It's literally like, oh, I'm such an anime villain. Like, no, you're not. You're a fucking pathetic loser who couldn't cut it in real society. So you literally decided to take the fucking route of hatred. And instead of like fixing your fucking brain, fixing yourself, fixing your body, fixing your mind, fixing your soul, finding a sense of fucking purpose, you went in this direction that a bunch of other fucking shitty, sweaty, crusty losers do, and you went down this goddamn rabbit hole, and you became this pathetic psychopath who, oh man, everyone should be fearful of me. I'm a big bad white supremacist guy, even though, you know, other white supremacists would probably are currently, actually, as a matter of fact, considering you to not be a real white supremacist, despite your fucking tattoos, despite your you know, despite how much you put down for the cause, right? Fucking 33 years old doing this shit, dude. Yeah. Immediately, the right wing, once again, goes, oh, no, that guy's like a gay Nazi. That's not one of us. He's not a real Nazi. He's gay and a Fed. Here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers, he said. This is his tattoos. The Allen shooter was apparently a Timcast fan as well. Here are some screenshots. He was a Just Pearly Things fan as well, or at least like he watched a couple Just Pearly Things and a bunch of other shit. I haven't checked this actually him in the picture. I just assume I haven't posted it because he's a big Swastika SS fan and has them all over the rest of his profile. I mean, first and foremost, this tattoo is his tattoo. These might be new tattoos that he got, but even if these aren't his tattoos, we already know what his fucking personal politics are. He says, here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers. The Texas tattoo is his tattoo. He has that tattoo on his arm. Did you try finding his Twitch profile? Yes, we did, but we couldn't find his Twitch profile. From the Allen, Texas mass shooter social media account. Latino children, act black, or become white supremacists. It's funny because it's true. I think I'll take my chances with the white supremacists, he says. New narrative just dropped. I can admit when I'm wrong. I thought he was tied to the cartel. New evidence shows him with Nazi tattoos. He's more likely tied to Ukraine than the cartel. Dude, that's awesome. He literally posted multiple identification cards with his name and face, pictures of receipts with his name and city, and photos of the mall where he carried out the mass shooting a few weeks before he did it. He also posted a manifesto and suicide note right before the shooting. It's like wild to fucking say that. What? 10-6? Couldn't find what 10-6 means? Yeah, not all of his tattoos are supposed to be tied to white supremacy, chatter. It's fine. Like, you know, some of Some of them are not going to be inherently white supremacists. Anyway. But yeah, as we were saying, he had a Hitler emoji. He had a Hitler smiling emoji avatar on his OK.ru and his YouTube account. 10-6 is the Reichstag speech. I don't know if it's like a fucking... I mean, if it's a dog whistle, it's one that even I don't know. So, you know, do with that information what you will. Because, I mean, if I don't know a fucking dog whistle, that's like some deep cut shit, okay? But there's always new stuff that I might not be aware of. Okay. Worth noting that the Allen shooter didn't have any friends or groups on his OK profile. He used it like a personal diary. He may have chosen OK because it has virtually zero content moderation. Christ, just noticed this. He was at the mall. He did the attack 3 weeks prior. He was monitoring the peak visiting times on Google. Here's some of his screenshots. The receipt for the kit that Allen, the Texas shooter, bought back in 2020 posted a few weeks before the shooting. He also posted photos of his weapons. I mean, he literally fucking posted his, like, his shit. Like, he posted his, you know, all the weapons that he was using. Boxes upon boxes of ammunition that he apparently received a few weeks before the shooting. These photos were posted at the same time he took pictures of the Allen Mall. Yeah. I guess we'll never know if this guy was a liberal or fascist. My kind of people... Oh, this is that famous... No, this is literally this is in Mexico, isn't it? I remember this. This is a wedding, a Nazi wedding that they did in Mexico. Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe he's not a Nazi. Calling someone a violent incel has lost meaning in the last few years without the term being so overused. But yeah, it fits here. Quotes 13. A review of the psychological evidence concludes that men are shaped by evolution to be aggressive towards outsiders. And the mighty clash of two stags rutting. Oh my God. To the dawn of the chimpanzee. He's doing like biological determinism. Like that like... he's saying that like men are... He's trying to biologically prove... like he's trying to do race realism with a nice little... touch of evolutionary psychology nonsense. Where he's like, no, there's a biological reason to be racist, you know? It's because this is my outside group. Anyway, this is a serious subject matter, and for that reason, I'm not going to fucking, like, bait you with a top-of-the-hour ad break, by the way. I've been thinking about, like, when to sneak this in, but I'm just going to give it to you right now. We know what his ideology is. Yeah, his ideology will be forever a mystery. Pinochet did nothing wrong. My kind of people. He kept posting, like, you know, Latin American, South American fucking Nazis, which there are plenty of, by the way. So I wonder what his perspective is. I wonder, how does this not set off all the alarms of the FBI? First of all, it's incredibly hard to track this shit. Let's be fucking real. How are you going to do that? The rise of the white nationalist Hispanics. Yeah. Like, I don't think people understand. First of all, a lot of South American countries, a lot of Latin American countries also have, like, the same colorism and the same anti-black fucking perspectives that the United States of America has due to chattel slavery and colonialism. Okay? So there's that. I mean, look at Argentina, okay, as a nation, if you want. And there's plenty of fucking dumb douchebags in every one of these countries. Brazil, for example, has an insanely large contingency of white supremacists, okay? If you think that there are no, like, real fucking direct descendants of Nazis living in South America, I don't know what to tell you. Holy fuck. Okay? So, you know, it's a very identical almost way of admiring these fucking horrific losers. Oh yeah, here's the 3-minute ad break right now, by the way. Sorry. There's a Kyle Rittenhouse Center in Argentina. That's hilarious. A cultural center named after Kyle Rittenhouse. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, first and foremost, you can be black and a white supremacist. You can be Latino and a white supremacist. There are plenty, okay? So that's number one. And number two, I mean, there are also plenty of like actual out and about Nazis in Latin American countries. And this guy is loved LARPing as them, okay? Anyway, here is some more stuff. Calling someone a violent incel has lost all its meaning. The reason men chase resources is because of what resources attract women. Yeah, dude, I didn't know a single fucking thing. I hadn't read through this thread, and I already know exactly what the fuck is going on. It's the PUA to fucking right wing to like reactionary, insane incel Nazi pipeline right there. He was all over that pipe, dude. He was piping it. Yeah, this whole like, oh yeah, women are bitches. There's like an evolutionary reason why we're doing all this shit, and now I'm a fucking white supremacist. It's always the same. PUA stands for pickup artists, like the red pill community, the manosphere as they call them now. If men cannot be creators of society, they will be destroyers of society. Now it's up to society which role they want us to follow. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? You're a fucking loser, man. You're just a loser. Like, that's it. You're a loser who had a fucking violent outburst like a child. But unfortunately, the reality is that your violent outburst also killed a bunch of fucking people. But that's it. That's where like the tiny fucking breaking point is. It's like a sense of entitlement and turning around and just like manifesting their violent outrage when they do not meet this mythologized sense of self. When that doesn't happen for them, they have to do something about it. And instead of like working very hard, working on themselves, getting some mental clarity, okay, and being at peace with yourself, they decide to fucking go deeper and darker into this like horribly right-wing pipeline and become this fucking monstrous person who thinks that this kind of violent backlash, this kind of like violent outburst is going to somehow proselytize them or turn them into like this martyr when it's not. You're a fucking idiot. You killed a bunch of random people, dumbass. You killed people who are fucking powerless. Okay? Like, you are not the Shinzo Abe assassin. You know what I mean? You're not. If men cannot be creators, these in modern times, social contract is no longer functioning. Expecting men to not regress and go back to the days of rape and violence when the contract is no longer being enforced or adhered to is truly what's outrageous. Not the acts themselves. Yeah, this is a person. Immediately, dude. This guy, I've seen it so many fucking times. He's trying to appear as like, look, this is a person who is desperately trying to come across like a scary person. Okay? He wrote this shit knowing that after the fact, after his like gross violent actions, that people will read this and go, ooh, he's so scary. Okay? He's so scary. He's like an anime villain. He sounds unhinged to you, but the reality is, yeah, this is the same fake confidence we saw in these pricks back in 2016. Alt-right, but instead of them hating normies because they felt like reject losers, these new guys think they're better than everyone in all ways of life, from race to tradition, etc. But you can't both be a bat chest Giga Chad and also no one bad, and also one bad day away from killing a bunch of people and yourself. Exactly. It is this inherent contradiction that like you are this incredibly confident deity. You're a Chad. You're descendant of like barbarian warriors, right? In your mind, there is this mythology, this white supremacist mythology that is constantly cycling in your fucking empty tin can of a fucking head, where you're like, you're the guy. You're that guy. You're the fucking warrior hero. I'm gonna go back to like fucking raping and pillaging, like I got no, like my ancestors did. That type of shit, right? Meanwhile, you're not that. You're a fucking reject who has genuine, deep mental health issues and probably no fucking financial independence or security or even interest, really, due to toxic masculinity to solve any of those things. You don't want to work on yourself. You don't want to do any of that shit. So you're literally thinking like, oh, it's an achievement. Like the smallest, most innocuous version of this is like a child that, you know, acts out, or like a puppy that acts out when they're not getting when they're not getting the attention that they want in that very moment. This is the societal collapse version of that, okay? Like, these motherfuckers were literally writing. I mean, he was literally writing shit like he was emoting in his note, in his suicide note, in his manifesto. He was emoting like, Chad, soy. You're a fucking reject, man. You're a loser. Now, we do that all the time here at Twitch, but at least we recognize how fucking silly and stupid that is. You know what I mean? Men aren't entitled to sex. True, I agree, but women aren't entitled to safety either. The violent responses of men today are retaliatory. There's no real motivation to bother trying to be a hard worker, to be civilized, when your reward at the end of the day is to get married to used goods who is likely only settling for you because she's aged past her prime and has a ton of baggage. This is 4chan. This is poll. Straight up. This is, if you've ever seen any green text beyond like whatever those green text aggregator Twitter accounts are, if you've ever actually gone to the dark side and seen some of this shit, this is precisely how these fucking incel losers talk, okay? Like the idea that like a woman is aged past her prime, she's used goods because she got dicked down by Chad when she was in her best years, which also always is like under the age of 18, according to them, okay? And is likely settling for you because she's past her prime and has a ton of baggage. As cold as a glacier in Russia in the dead of the winter. Conclusion, everyone who tells us variations of sex is not a big deal needs to die. And be forced into lifelong celibacy, no exceptions. Disenfranchised males are self-destructive males. There's a sense of like that entitlement seeps out there too. It's like, how dare you disenfranchise me, a man? I will react in this violent way now. Look what you made me do. No sense of accountability in his actions, like no interest in that whatsoever. It is the reverse of like genuinely looking at structural hurdles and finding ways to clear them or trying to implement systemic solutions to those problems. It's literally misunderstanding structural hurdles, a byproduct of the mystification of class politics in this country, by the way. So shouts out to neoliberalism for that. And then hyper-focusing on why your sense of entitlement has not panned out in the way that it was supposed to because of the mythologized understanding of like the prior Vikings and the barbarians that came before you that were raping and pillaging. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure those fucking raping and pillaging barbarians and Vikings weren't also, adhering to the Pareto principle, they were also probably adhering to the Pareto principle in the same way that fucking you guys are, in the way that you talk about it. I'm sure there was a head Viking that was the Chad Viking that was getting all the top shelf pussy, bro. You know what I mean? Also, on top of that, you were dying at the fucking old age of like 17. That is, if you actually avoided dying avoided dying during labor. You know what I mean? That's the funniest part about these incel white supremacists who think that like a trad society is going to somehow magically rewrite the rules, and that like people are not going to want to, behave in the ways that they normally would, or some other kind of social hierarchy is not going to substitute it. Like, no, dude, let's say you have this like incel trad Nazi ethno state that you created. The most Aryan motherfucker is still going to be getting all the Aryan Stacys that you want, okay? The most Aryan Chad is going to maybe have different metrics of success under that kind of reorganization of society, but there's still going to be a guy. You want to know why? Because you're a fucking loser. The thing that I'm mentioning here also is unironically the reason why fascism, okay, is a death cult. It is slated to always implode unless there is some kind of counterbalance. Because there's always another in-group that is more powerful than the rest. You have to constantly be fighting enemies. You have to be in a permanent war. That's how fascism works. There's always a smaller and smaller in-group. You know what I mean? All these people that we now consider white, for example, okay, would not have fallen under the category of white. But let's say we go back to the Benjamin Franklin era of like whiteness, where we think even Germans are fucking swarthy. We think the Italians are not white, which we don't right now. We think that, Slavs are not white, Jews are not white, all this other shit, right? Let's say we go back to that. At a certain point, someone is going to come out and say, okay, we got the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That's the good part, right? Those are the good white people. Those are the real white people. Maybe some French. Because, Benny liked French pussy. Let's be real. That's the part of the reason why Benjamin Franklin thought, we'll allow the French to be considered white. Okay? But someone's going to turn around and say, yeah, only the blue-eyed, blonde-haired whites are the real whites, actually. We've decided. You know that, right? Because there's the Ubermensch. Whiteness and the social context surrounding whiteness can expand, it can contract and get smaller and smaller and smaller, and fascism dictates that it gets smaller. Okay? And ultimately, you're going to fall out of that in-group. Eventually. It has to have an enemy. I mean, this guy wasn't even in the in-group. He wasn't on the team for many different reasons, being, a brown dude, a Latin American guy. You know what I mean? He thought so. He thought he was on the team. He was like, I'm putting the team on my back. Anyway, what is overtly normal and what is covertly normal are two very different things. For example, in public, normies will say that banging a family member is nasty, but in private, porn website data shows people are extremely interested in Ocest-themed content. What the fuck? No, that's a you thing, brother. Pretty sure that's a you thing. Oh, yuck. If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him. Be fruitful and multiply. They have been overproductive growth stunters, control freak tyrants, prudes who blue-balled me at every turn, narcissistic abusers, and because they know it will get a rise out of me, they even annoy me just for the fun of it. Yeah, everyone is out to get me. It's the systems that have made me this way. I have no backbone. I have no interest in taking accountability or ownership. Worth noting that he uploaded this video before the shooting and scheduled for it to be published onto his YouTube channel after the shooting. In a March post, he linked the same YouTube channel, so it's definitely his. Wait, is this the... Yeah, he's such a fucking loser. Like, he is such a cringe fucking loser. Yeah, he literally is. I mean, this is definitely him. You know what I mean? Also, it's the same apartment that he posted back in December 2022 on his OK page. I mean, yeah, there you go. I mean, this is how he lived. Many people live like this and don't become weirdo white nationalists, white supremacists, psychopathic shooters and shit. But hey, what do I fucking know? You know? But in summary, the Allen shooter was obviously a white supremacist neo-Nazi. He was basically announcing that he was going to do a mass shooting for months beforehand and planned his target weeks in advance. He also posted his handwritten personal diary. Everything I've seen shows that this is about the most textbook mass shooter you'll ever find, and he tells you about it every step of the way. He'll be a reference point for decades on mass shooters because he shared so much. Also forgot to post earlier, but I found his OK profile by searching for active profiles on the filters of his birthday, those living in the U.S. and male. About 50 results, and the Hitler smiley face avatar made it an easy pick for my first choice of checking if it was him. One last thing. Noticed by Jake Godin, the Allen shooter was a big fan of libs of TikTok and signed off on one of his posts with Heil Hitler. This post was inspired by libs of TikTok. I had this teacher who was supposed to be a chemistry teacher, but she used the class to promote Jewish mud diversity type hippie bullshit. Libs of TikTok, by the way, is Jewish, for the record. He don't give a fuck, though. He is a Latino Nazi. So, like, again, this is one of the most, like, fascinating parts about white supremacist reactionary movements is that, like, a lot of times they don't give a fuck. They'll watch Ben Shapiro and go, yeah, he's a Jew, but he's saying, like, the right things here. You know what I mean? Like, it's always like that. And then these guys then turn around and go, wow, I'm so shocked that the, people that are fans of mine are also fans of Joseph Mengele. You know? His views on his own identity. Yeah, I already covered this. Interesting how he posted a meme almost identical to the one that the shooter posted himself. Yeah, that's funny, man. Another shock to find out that another crypto cheerleader with a fucking paid blue check mark is out here doing the same exact meme that this guy was doing, you know? Have you ever considered incorporating scientific political articles in your commenting on subjects, etc.? Yes, we do it in post. When I am giving you a point of reference, it's often from a political journal or some kind of, there's always empirical evidence backing up what I'm saying. If you go to my YouTube page and rewatch the videos, my editors will include the exact sources that I'm referencing off the top of my dome. Sometimes I might even get it a little bit wrong. I might get the numbers off. You know what I mean? I'll explain it to you. But you can find the sauce on my YouTube. So there you go. I had this teacher who was supposed to be what is this? But she used the class to promote Jewish mod diversity type hippie bullshit. I was just starting to go right wing. She would always say some politically correct crap like we all bleed red or there's only one race, the human race. And I didn't know what to say at the time. I know what I would say now. Animals bleed red, but they're not considered human. If theirs is only one race, human race, how is it possible for anyone to be racist? I was sick of hearing her bullshit. I mean, he doesn't even have like a well flushed out, like he didn't even do the reading. You know what I mean? This fucking dildo didn't even read like Culture of Critique or any kind of like important, formative fascist text, it feels like. He just basically was doing the memes. Like he was just reading memes on the internet like a Chapo Reddit poster who learned everything online about like Marxism from memes. Ridiculous. I was sick of hearing her bullshit. One day, just for the fun, I did a Roman salute. She got butthurt as well. Gotcha. She said, don't even get me started on that evil man. I'm getting you started. I did it a couple more times. Ooh, you're so fucking badass, dude. You're such a bad bitch. Ooh, you did the fucking Hitler salute. That's crazy, dog. Oh, my God. The unfuckable nature of the permanent incel that turns into a white supremacist. Like, he's so sick. The edge, man. The edge. I freaking triggered her, man. I triggered her so fucking hard, dude. Literally vibes-based fascism. Politics is just vibes now. To be fair, fascism has always been vibes-based. Let's be fucking real. It is a way, like, it pops off due to material conditions, but there has never been a time when fascism wasn't vibes-based because there is no, like, underpinning. That's why the race realists always fall short of, like, actual science to try to do like biological predeterminism. You know what I mean? Fascism is always vibes based. It's always stupid as fuck. There's no like material grounding to fascism. It's just all like, oh, the other guys, I fucking hate them. They're scary, but also pussies. They're weak. They're weak, but also strong, and they're destroying society. But they're also weak and cowards. Anyway. Ay, ay, ay. So she said if you do it again, I get detention. Thank God I'm not in Germany where the punishment would have been a lot harsher. He's like fantasizing about like, you know, he's saying he was just starting to go right wing. And he's also simultaneously fantasizing about like being in Germany and going to prison for Sig Heiling, where the punishment would have been a lot harsher. Like a week later, as I was walking to the class, PC's teacher says, "Hi, how are you?" I said, "Final solution." Just like that, I ruined her good mood. She went off on me. How dare you be a Hitler supporter? He would cheerfully kill your non-blonde hair, no blues eyes having behind. You're not even white. Well, he did get Germany out of economic recession. He was the Fuhrer and Chancellor of the Reich. He was one of the history's most powerful men. What's not to like? The internet is the only place where you can be like, I am going on my right-wing journey, and then also simultaneously talk about how powerful Hitler was and how sick it was. Yeah, dude. Good icon to have. And I don't even mean because he was like, you know, meth-addicted, gross pervert who fucking killed himself. I mean, sorry, I'm not even talking about like the concentration camps in that situation. The most powerful guy that you're talking about is, again, a meth-addicted, gross pervert who fucking killed himself and lost. He was a habitual L taker. He took some of the worst L's of all time. He did not fix the economy either, by the way. Holy fuck. I wonder if there's like a group of individuals out there who are like anti-Hitler because they feel like Hitler's major L turned the tide for neoliberalism to completely overtake society, especially like it basically brought about the like Western hegemonic power, and therefore like they would do the Nazi thing better than Hitler. There's got to be some. Yeah, he's 33 years old and still talking about fucking, high school, by the way. I was in ROTC and I was wearing my Class B uniform. As I was leaving, I said, Heil. She said that I'm wearing a uniform that stands for diversity, equality, and justice for all, and that I should be ashamed for having those beliefs and wearing the uniform. By the way, liberals have no fucking way of, like, dealing with this kid. She's sharp as a tack, but all those smarts came at the expense of her common sense. I was in the hallway and I dropped my shit. I was picking my stuff up and the PC teacher saw me. She said, "Are you all right?" I just said, "White power." She then said, "I would not be saying that if I was Hispanic." Teacher said, "It was tragic that I was a Hitler fan and that he was notoriously evil." Well, I'm a fan of all things evil. Nah, you're like a fucking giant pussy. Like, you're a giant bitch. Like, look at this. It's literally just like, oh, I'm triggering everybody. I'm owning everyone. I'm fucking so... Oh, I'm epically owning people. And in this context, if you're just as brain broken and you're like an edgy fucking weirdo, you read something like this and you go, wow, he was actually real. But like edgelords IRL are like the weird losers that you see in fucking 90s comedies that are getting picked on at fucking school and eating by themselves. You know what I mean? Like Steven fucking Glansberg. That's the edgelord loser in the real world. You can write all the fucking fanfics you want, but that's not going to change the reality. Here's what you can do instead, though. Okay? Change yourself. Hey, man, she brought all this fucking BS on herself. If she would have just stuck to teaching chemistry, I never would have said shit. I felt like a champion. She couldn't shame me or convince me to think like her. And the most fucked up part, despite her all rural signaling and shilling Mrs. White guilt, she still got called to raises. Haha, drop the PC shit and I'll stop. A lot of the stuff going on in clown world, you better believe there wouldn't be. Will convert your children, drag queen, story hour losers running around loose. No Zog communist or liberal fake news media under Hitler's watch. Heil Hitler, he says. Nice. Yeah. I mean, he is. You're so right about this, by the way. Yeah, he's vice signaling. Yeah. He's crying about virtue signaling, and his only effective counter to virtue signaling is vice signaling. Like, as though that the only way to be authentic online is by showing everyone how you're the biggest piece of shit. Because you're desperate. You're so desperate for attention. You're so attention starved that you're like, I can't get it for positive things. People aren't noticing the positive things that I'm doing. It takes a lot for someone to say good job. And this is the only other way that I can get attention, and it's quick and it's effective. That's why people do it. That's how it works. So yeah, that's a lot of the fucking shit. Quite the post here where he's openly admiring Hitler. Yeah, I mean, he talked about this as well. I accidentally left out a chunk. But yeah, we just read this actually. Yeah, of course he didn't have friends. People who have like real world friends don't often do this kind of thing. They are desperately seeking for real world friends. Okay? They're desperately seeking real world friends and they can't get them, so they get them online. They get them online in fucking Discords. They get them online in like these anonymous forums. That's where that comes from. Okay? And you can luck into a relatively open-minded community on the internet. It's still not healthy to make that your only way of like feeling human, you know, through social interaction. That's still overall not a healthy thing to do. I'm looking right at you, Discord users in my community. This community in and of itself is like significantly healthier than obviously all these other ones. But part of that is still that like you have to improve yourself. You have to constantly seek to improve yourself. Okay? What platform is this on to get absolutely zero interaction in the modern world and not be detected? This is it's like a Russian OK.ru. He purposely posted it on the Russian platform specifically so that it wouldn't get found until later. There's little to no more IRL community, dude. Please, your advice is facile, dated, and more hyper-individualism. What? The solution to consequences of hyper-individualism is not more hyper-individualism? What did I just say? I said go outside, meet people in the real world. I tell you all the time to like organize in your own communities. I tell you to like fucking go and pick up a hobby that puts you around other human beings. One way to like basically fucking combat the social isolation that you are that is basically baked into society is by doing that. What do you mean where? Brother, you're a 25-month subscriber literally telling me that there's no other way out here than like just only having fucking Discord circuits. Like, go to a fucking music venue. I'm sure you listen to music. Go outside, dude. Walk around. Join a club. Go to the gym. Go to the library. Go pick up a hobby like pot making or something. You know what I mean? Go to a class like that. Play Warhammer. Fuck. It's like we're in the cave and you're like, nah, there's nothing out there. There's no light. Don't look at the light. Go to the gym. Go rock climbing. Draw. Take classes. Go for a run. Play games. Exactly. You know, think about, in your mind, what a normal person does. Because clearly, let's be real, all of us here right now, we're not that normal. Some of you are. Some of you are watching me as you work from home or something. But a lot of people who are here, for the most part, we're not all very normal, I myself included. But I do everything I can in the hours that I'm not on here. I do everything I can to physically be as normal as possible, okay? I go out and I talk to normies. I am constantly socializing with people that, one, have no idea who the fuck I am, and also are completely oblivious to the dumb